Reconnaissance troops of the 3rd Assault Brigade of the 3rd Army Corps stopped the advance of an enemy subversive reconnaissance group near Novoselivka. The enemy tried to create a bridgehead for an offensive on Oskil and to cut off the Izium-Sloviansk road. Live footage from the operation captures the elimination of the enemy group in the rear of adjacent units. The soldiers knew in advance about the enemy's positions. An industrial building with hangars and basements, where the invaders were entrenched and fought back. The reconnaissance servicemen offered the enemy to surrender. When they refused, the basement was attacked with grenades and fire from nearby positions. In close-quarters combat, the fighters advanced room by room, eliminating the enemy and clearing the building. During the cleanup, they found the bodies of the eliminated invaders and communications equipment. From the captured radio, it became known that the remaining enemies were in a state of panic and uncoordinated. The scouts also shot down several enemy drones that were trying to guide enemy fire. After clearing the basement, the fighters set up a circular defense. The GoPro video demonstrates the accuracy, determination, and professionalism of the 3rd Assault Brigade's scouts. The positions have been secured, and the enemy's attempted breakthrough has been thwarted. Recently, the founder of Azov and the 3rd Assault Brigade has been promoted to the rank of Brigadier General. Russian instructors have trained North Korean military units to use FPV drones and engage them in support of operations in the Sumy region. The Ukrainian General Staff released a video of an intercepted drone launched by the DPRK military. According to the Ukrainian military, the trained units operate from the Kursk region, from where they conduct reconnaissance operations using drones. Their main task is to identify the positions of the Ukrainian Defense Forces and transmit the coordinates to Russian troops to adjust artillery and missile fire. Recorded talks between North Korean UAV operators and Russian Army personnel confirm their coordination on the battlefield. North Korean operators were actively adjusting the fire of multiple launch rocket systems at the positions of Ukrainian units in the Sumy region. The involvement of the DPRK forces indicates an acute shortage of trained personnel in the Russian army and serious problems with conducting an offensive operation in this area. The General Staff emphasizes that the participation of foreign forces is a gross violation of international law and further evidence of the escalation of armed aggression against Ukraine. The armed forces of Ukraine document all established facts of participation of foreign formations in the armed aggression. The units involved in the aggression against Ukraine are neutralized in accordance with the laws and rules of warfare, the General Staff noted. The Ukrainian side passes the documented materials to international partners and agencies for further legal assessment of the actions of the DPRK and Russia. In early September, it became known that, according to the National Intelligence Service of South Korea, about 2,000 DPRK soldiers were killed while participating in hostilities on the side of Russia in Ukraine. Last year, Russia and North Korea signed a military agreement that includes provisions for mutual defense. This step was part of the deepening strategic partnership between the two authoritarian regimes. On the morning of October 16th, Russia fired 2 ballistic missiles at the territory of one of the training units of the ground forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. The Operational Command South reported that the training center is located in the rear part of the country, away from the front line. Despite timely warnings, relocation of personnel to shelters, and other security measures, losses could not be completely avoided. Emergency services are on the scene to provide the wounded with all necessary medical care as promptly as possible. In the near future, the soldiers of the unit will be able to contact their families and report on their condition, the Armed Forces representative said. At the decision of the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, the Military Law Enforcement Service initiated an internal investigation to determine all the circumstances of the enemy attack. We express our sincere condolences to the families and friends of the victims, the Operational Command South said. A similar attack took place on September 24th, when the Russian invaders struck at the territory of one of the training units of the ground forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. 2 Iskander ballistic missiles were also among the weapons used. According to the Ground Forces Command, the hit resulted in casualties among the personnel, which could not be completely avoided despite the security measures taken. To protect the lives and health of military personnel, Ukraine is currently working to equip training centers, training grounds, and other military facilities with reliable shelters. Additionally, security measures are being implemented to protect personnel during enemy missile and air attacks. The Ground Forces Command emphasized the importance of constant monitoring of the security situation and the readiness of the units for possible further attacks. If this war does not end, the United States, together with its allies, will take the necessary measures to make Russia pay the price for continuing its aggression, U.S. Defense Secretary Hegseth said. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said NATO allies are expected to buy and transfer even more American weapons to Ukraine under the PURL initiative, agreed during a key meeting in Brussels. NATO chief Mark Rutte added that over half of the alliance's members have already joined the program.
Firepower, that's what is coming, we expect it is coming from NATO. And it was a historic summit just a couple of months ago, brought about by leadership of President Trump to say we need our allies to step up. And they did, and they have, in those commitments. Now those commitments will soon translate into capabilities, which is the most important aspect of it. And one part of that, of course, is PEARL, is the initiative where European countries buy U.S. weapons, transfer to NATO for the fight in Ukraine to bring peace to that conflict. And if there's anything we've learned under President Trump, is the active application of peace through strength. You get peace when you are strong. Not when you use strong words or wag your finger. You get it when you have strong and real capabilities that adversaries respect. And I believe that's what NATO...
The UK has delivered more than 85,000 military drones to Ukraine over the last 6 months. The defense secretary is to say, amid a surge in Russian one-way attack drone strikes. John Healey will say that £600 million has been invested this year to accelerate drone delivery for Kiev's armed forces. The drones, including tens of thousands of short-range first-person view models, are being used for reconnaissance, precision strikes, and to disrupt Russian operations behind the front lines. The defense secretary will tell the latest meeting of the Ukraine Defense Contact Group in Brussels on Wednesday that Western countries need to ramp up drone production to outmatch Vladimir Putin's escalation, following increased drone strikes in Ukraine and incursions into European airspace. Western officials said that in September, Russia launched around 5,500 one-way attack drones into Ukraine, a significant increase from 4,100 in August. In October so far, more than 2,400 have already been launched, with attacks focused on Ukrainian critical national infrastructure, notably gas storage and production facilities. As Ukraine moves to safeguard its energy resources ahead of winter, Russia is seeking to target those, unfortunately quite effectively, officials said. Mr. Healey and his Ukrainian counterpart, Denis Shmyhal, last month signed a technology-sharing deal through which the UK is jointly developing an interceptor drone to help Ukraine fight off Russian aerial attacks. Battlefield data is now being used to scale up production, with the aim of sending thousands of new models to Ukraine each month. Mr. Healey, who is co-hosting the Ukraine Defense Contact Group gathering with Germany, said, "Putin's dangerous escalation in Ukraine and across Europe must be matched by ramping up our drone production and strengthening NATO's air defenses. The UK is stepping up our support to Ukraine by delivering over 85,000 drones in the last 6 months and signing new industrial partnerships to rapidly develop thousands of new interceptor drones to shoot down Putin's attacks. This is growing jobs in both the UK and Ukraine. I am also extending the UK's commitment to NATO's Eastern Sentry air policing mission to the end of the year to continue to deter Putin from further testing the alliance." The defense secretary will also attend a meeting of NATO defense ministers, where he will confirm the extension of the Royal Air Force's contribution to the Defense Alliance's Eastern Sentry mission to the end of the year. British Typhoon fighter jets have been taking part in defensive flights over Polish airspace after Russian drone incursions last month. Counter-drone experts from the British military will also help train Moldova's armed forces in counter-drone tactics, according to the Ministry of Defense.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.